Okay, I'm gonna make some pickled stuff, mostly peppers. I have been making this all season and I've realized that I just absolutely love it and I need a lot of it in my life. So I'm gonna make a giant thing of it. I think I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna do this jar, so 4 cups, right? Quart. So I'm gonna make about 3 cups of my brine. So I'm gonna do a 1-to-1 ratio of white vinegar and water. So 1.5 cups of white vinegar. Fill my water now, and 1.5 cups of water. And then I'm going to turn this on a low heat to get it warm enough to dissolve the sugar and salt in it. And while we do that, I'm going to cut up the peppers. You can see I have a bunch of peppers from the garden. I think I'm going to save these Anaheims to roast because those will be good roasted. And I have so many habaneros on top here. I'm going to kind of sort through those. I don't want to make it too spicy. I have jalapenos down here somewhere under all these habaneros. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to get these out of the way, huh? I guess I should have planned this a little bit better. Ooh, look. I don't know what this is. We'll put it in there. Why not? Does anybody know what this is? Oh, can you see it? This pepper? I'm not sure. The tag was gone. So we're just going to throw a couple in. Save a couple. Here we go. Ooh, a Fresno. That'll be good in there. Those have become my new favorite pepper, I think. I just love how spicy they are and their flavor. It's a little spicier than a jalapeno, not as spicy as a habanero. It's nice to just use the Fresnos alone. We have serranos and jalapenos. That's what we're looking for. They're all on the bottom. So while I'm digging through here and cutting these up, I like to tell stories while I cook, but I'm switching channels, and so I'm not sure what kind of stories I really want to put on this new channel, where I also do things like yoga videos and herbal videos, like medicine making, gardening, things like that. Ooh, Diablo. We can throw this guy in there too, why not? So, that said, I don't have a story time planned for this video, but something that does come to mind while I'm doing my first simple cooking video on here is that I remember being little, not that little, but maybe 7 or so, and learning how to cook. My parents would pull a chair up to the stove for me to stand on so I could reach, and I would make my own scrambled eggs with cheese and tomatoes and whatever else I wanted to put in there, being about 7 years old. And I think that kind of started my love of cooking. It was like this fun experiment to see what I could throw on the stove and how the heat changed it, and you know, just watching it cook and being young and seeing that happen was pretty awesome to me. And so anyway, I started cooking at a really young age, and you know, using a knife and cutting things and using the stove and fire. And so then shortly after that, I started going to a neighbor's house after school to get watched. And my parents always did, you know, homemade meals. We had good food. They were good cooks. They are good cooks. You know, my mom does the soups and, you know, regular home cooking things, but really well. My dad is an amazing cook, especially when it comes to using the smoker and the grill and things like that. And he likes to experiment with different flavors and sauces and kind of make his own stuff. So I took that on really young. And anyway, so I grew up, you know, with these homemade meals all the time. And then we moved into town. We lived in the country till I was about 7 or so. And then both my parents were working, and after school I would go to the neighbor's house to get watched. And I remember going over there and just not wanting to eat the food. I would just wait until my parents would get home to eat, because she was serving us this lettuce from a bag. And you know, I grew up with a garden, and you know, tomatoes and lettuce and things like that from a garden are just so different than the ones that you buy in the store. So anyway, it was this, she would open this plastic bag of lettuce, and then she had these, I mean, you don't look at my nails right now, they look done, and I was just planting potatoes this morning, but she had these long fingernails, like kind of pointy at the end, and it freaked me out that she would just dump this bag of lettuce in this bowl and use her hands to just grab it and stick it on your plate with those long witchy fingernails, like evil witchy, you know, like, I don't know, maybe evil witchy stepmother or something. And yeah, so we had that, and then on top of that it was always like macaroni and cheese with hot dogs in it, cut up hot dogs. And her daughters would eat just hot dogs cold out of the refrigerator, out of the package, and or we would have baked beans with the hot dogs in it, or there was always just hot dogs, and I never even heard of that before, like beans and weenies and hot dogs and macaroni and cheese, like the Kraft box macaroni and cheese. And to top it off, the lettuce and the salad, it was always ranch dressing. I never really had ranch dressing at our house. It was always like blue cheese or Italian, or you know, oil and vinegar, or sun-dried tomato, or something like that. And yeah, it's just different for me to eat like that, and I would just go hungry and wait. The salad, the lettuce tasted like chemical, you know, like like tap water sometimes kind of tastes like chlorine or chemical. It was that kind of same weird flavor from lettuce, which isn't something that I feel like you should have going on. Okay, so this is bubbling, so I'm going to turn it off. And wasn't quite prepared, but I'm going to put in my salt and sugar. So let's see, about, I mean, a little over 5 tablespoons is a third a cup of a third a cup. Sorry, my brain's failing me. So my general, like, for 1 cup, if I want just regular, kind of sweet pickled, these are quick pickles too in the fridge, I'll do about 5 tablespoons to 1 tablespoon sugar to salt ratio for 1 cup. Well, I have 3 cups, and this one I actually want to be a little more salty than sweet. So I think I'm gonna do, let's see, we have 5 times 3, so 15, so it's about, alright, I don't know, let's do, let me get my brain to work real quick. Okay, so I got some stuff ready. So for this, 3 cups of liquid would be about a total of 1 1/4 cups of the salt and sugar. So about a cup and a tablespoon of sugar usually, and then 3 tablespoons of salt. But I want it to be a little saltier, so I'm gonna sort of measure, and I kind of got some stuff ready. So I'm thinking I'm gonna do almost a cup of sugar. I'm using a 1/3 cup measure here. I'm gonna put in 2 of those, and then a 1/4 cup. And you know, this might not even add up. I'm gonna do about a 1/4 cup of salt. Oh, if I have that much. Come on. So yeah, a 1/4 cup, what's that, 4 tablespoons. And then I'll do an extra tablespoon. So I might need to open up another salt. So yeah, I kind of messed with my ratio just a little bit here, just because I want it to be a little saltier. I do like to do the normal kind of 5 to 1 with when I just do jalapenos, because it makes it a little less spicy the more sugar that you add. But this one I'm doing like spicy peppers and all sorts of peppers and stuff in it, so I kind of want it to be a little bit saltier than my regular pickled recipe. So I'm going to mix this, make sure it dissolves. That's why it's warm, and then it should cool, right? By the time we fill our jar with peppers and things. And this is so simple. This recipe is so simple, and it's also so hard to mess up. So let me just kind of bloop you over. There's my pot of liquid, and that will continue to dissolve in that warm water. Okay, so keep cutting. Ooh, we are getting there with the peppers. So my habaneros, they're going to be this spiciest ones I think I'm putting in here, so I'm going to make their pieces a little bit smaller, just so that we just get little hints of them when we eat it. I like to put this, gosh, on everything. Nachos, sandwiches, basically everything. Just eat it. I can, oh my gosh, now my brain fog. This is also a good thing to do, a good recipe if you want to do like quick cucumber pickles too, or whatever. You can pickle about anything. So I'm gonna throw in a couple cloves of garlic here. I'll put in a couple more later on. Smash them real good, and then stick those in there. And I also have some coriander seeds from the garden from this year that I'm going to throw in right now. Phone call. Okay, so there was a little glimpse into my life of constant phone calls and doctors and things. Checking up on my new medication. I'm getting exhausted already. So, anyway, what were we talking about? I don't know. Oh, I put in the coriander. You know, if you wanted to do the cucumbers or some other kind of vegetable, you could do cauliflower, shallots, whatever. You could always throw in some dill. That's one of my favorite things. Oregano. Pretty much anything. But this one, we're doing peppers. I remember, you know, past the being babysat when I was about 7 and having horrible food. I remember being in high school. You know, your friends want you to stay for dinner if you're over hanging out or whatever. And I discovered so many foods that I just never ate when I was over at friends' houses and things like that. And I stayed for dinner one time at this friend's house, and it sounded good. You know, his mom said that we were having chicken with peas and macaroni and cheese and mashed potatoes. It's like, oh yeah, that sounds like food that I want. Homemade, sounds good, I'll stick around. Well, the chicken was just like chicken. It was strange, kind of rubbery, zero seasoning or flavor, and I don't know if it was boiled chicken breast. It was very strange to me. And then the macaroni and cheese was the box macaroni and cheese, and peas were just watery. There was butter on the table. I remember that. Mashed potatoes were very plain. You know, I remember sitting there and being polite and trying to eat it and thinking, like, how are you not tasting that this is awful? And how have you just grown up eating this stuff, you know? So, anyway, my food is flavorful. And I really love cooking. Hope that I can continue to do it for a while and share as much as I can with everybody. Like I said, this is just a very simple recipe, and I wanted to put a few simple ones out there for basics, you know, so that you can just have this kind of stuff in the fridge for whenever I top my corn dip with it, you know, just use it as a topping as for anything. It's amazing. And I like to play around with it too, and what spices and herbs and things I put in there. These jalapenos that we grew this year aren't very spicy, so that's why I'm adding you know, some of the habaneros and things. And of course this will be ready in the refrigerator after a couple hours once it's closed down, but the longer it sits in there, the better it tastes, for sure. And you can keep this in the refrigerator, you know, it says like 2 weeks, but really the vinegar should keep it for longer than that. It says like just a general like pickling thing, it's about 2 weeks, but you know, if it doesn't start to smell funky or get moldy or anything like that, it should be fine. It's in vinegar and salt. You know, just use your judgment. This is filling up pretty quick. It's good. Hands starting to hurt. So I put garlic and coriander seeds in it. I'm not sure what else I feel like seasoning it with today. I thought if I didn't have enough peppers, I was going to throw some carrots in there for a little bit of sweet crunch, but you know, I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. A lot of times I like to put just a little bit of carrot and a little bit of onion in with my peppers also. But I haven't been to the store in like 3 weeks. So, out of onions. And I used all the ones in the garden that are big enough. So, I might have to do just a separate onion, pickled onion. Which, in that case, I do like to do the more sugar than salt ratio, because pickled onions are so good, sweet. It sounds good on like barbecued pork, doesn't it? Some sweet pickled onions. I've even put celery in it. Like I said, cauliflower. I mean, cauliflower is that vegetable that, you know, you buy or grow and then never know what to do with it. It just sits in there until it's like, well, gotta do something with this cauliflower. So, you know, you can always just pickle it and have it for later. Snack on it. Throw it in Bloody Marys, which is always a go-to, you know. And this brine actually is one of the ingredients that I do use in my Bloody Mary mix. So that's another thing that you can do with this, is use the brine in a lot of cooking. also. You know, I know that my peppers this year aren't very spicy, so I'm not wearing gloves or anything. Well, the habaneros are, but I'm only cutting up a few of those. But, you know, if you, that one has a spider one, we'll get a different one. I'll wash that one later. If you are doing a lot of really spicy peppers, you know, it's always best to wear some gloves or even face mask if you're breathing a lot of that in. We usually do that and ventilate really well when we're, you know, cooking them down for hot sauce or something like that, especially when it comes to the ghost peppers and the reapers and habaneros and bulk. Sometimes it gets so bad in here that I can't breathe and you just start coughing. It gets really spicy making the hot sauce. So these jalapenos are so tiny, aren't they? I don't know what happened, but they stayed really small this year. But that's okay. We did kind of get a late start, and you know, the weather's been strange, so I'm sure that has something to do with it. Throw a couple more of these habaneros in, and I'm going to throw a little bit more garlic. Also, ooh, yeah, these are spicy. I can smell it. Oh my gosh. This is going to be good. And put a little bit more of the coriander. Sometimes I'll put cumin in it too, but not this time. I'm going to keep it pretty simple, so it can be versatile. Oh yeah. A couple more garlic cloves. I'm gonna need a break after this. I can't get it open. Ooh, that one looks a little rotten. We'll just skip that one. And dash more coriander. And you know, once these seeds soak in the brine, they get kind of soft. And if you get a couple in with your, you know, your pickling, it's so good. I love biting into coriander. Oh, yeah, that's good. It's not very warm anymore. I'm going to get my things I can pour it. This saves my life sometimes because I struggle with things. So we're going to pour this in. Yep. Oh, look at that. And I have some left over. So I'll save that too in a separate jar for later. And then I'm going to just let this cool. It's almost room temperature, but I'll let it cool a little bit more, and then I'm going to stick a lid on it, stick it in the fridge, and it's good to go. Isn't it pretty? Here, let's take a look. So pretty. Alright, and that is pickled peppers. Enjoy!